everybody for everybody's favorite podcast about an obscure X-Files clones from 2000 from early 2000s Fox. I'm the beautiful as always, Alice of Water, and my co-host.
Beautiful Ludovico from the
Yeah.
internet. I live there.
Wow. Live on the internet. Wow.
I'm a digital. Damn, I forgot the second word. What's the word? No. When you live there, I'm a digital citizen.
That's our new Eminem lyric. I'm a digital citizen, lyrical miracle.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's start this. I recap the first part, right, Lila?
Maybe you want to introduce the episode real quick.
Okay, today we cover the Freaklings episode about the iconic Florida cryptid, the skunk ape.
Yes, we get into some stinky business.
Yeah, we have stinky hours in the house.
Let's make more puns about smell. There's even one in the recap. So yeah, I'm gonna read the first half, I guess. In this episode, the Freaky Crew investigates skunk ape sightings in an old people's home in Florida, while Chloe has to make her case in front of a board of psychiatrists to not lose her license. Gil, the son-in-law of Betty, who lives in said old people's home, hires the Freaky Crew to disprove the skunk ape's existence so Betty will stop bothering him and his wife about it. Alex?
When they start investigating the matter, they find out pretty quickly that something smelly is definitely going on in that home. After committing multiple crimes, they found out that Haley, Betty's neighbor, has a crush on her and is drinking a special kind of stinking water that springs from the grounds of that old people's home, which turns him into a skunk ape. After Zia has seen the value of the work that Freakling Q's does, he lays in a good word for Chloe at the board meeting and pays her fine so she can keep her psychiatrist license.
Hell yeah.
So
what a great episode.
This is great, I love it. Probably honest, my third or second favorite episode of the entire series.
This is the only episode that has similar vibes to Desert Squid for me.
Yeah.
Just in the amount of wild shit and like not taking itself seriously.
Yeah, it's very much in that vein. Specifically how it starts us, because Derek's is talking with his family, with these two married people, and the whole interaction is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, you just wanted to lie, so I don't need to put like my grandma in here in our house, and they're just like going, oh, you investigate the supernatural? What? Skunk ape? That's not real.
Yeah, it's a nice reversal because usually the episode starts with them trying to prove the existence of some kind of cryptid. And in this episode, the job is basically the opposite. So they have to disprove the existence of a cryptid. So I found that very smart from a writer's perspective.
Yeah, it really sets up the kind of like weirdness of the lightness of the episode, like the humor of it. That's like, oh, Derek has to disprove this, so he can help Chloe, and it's this whole thing of like, this is basically just a skunk ape, and like Derek like has to do the instead of like the whole like part of X-Files, like Scully has to go, and like the X-Files, how like Scully's like, oh, this is not a supernatural thing. At first, and then says, oh, this is actually supernatural. Derek in this for part is like, oh, I obviously know that this is a real skunk ape, but I have to just lie and pretend that the skunk ape is not real.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of like comedy of misunderstandings and comedy of like reversals in this. And yeah, it's a funny episode. It has some of the funniest
It's
lines.
very fun.
What's really
I like the
what's
part
really
like
damn bad is that
the
Lana
old
gets basically
person
written
that
out of the episode at the
communicates with
start.
Alec, just like shows him to the other old people.
No, they just tell at the
Yeah,
start of
yeah,
the episode Lan isn't here. Like it's so
yeah,
cheap. It's such a cheap way to like hire an actress less.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
This is not episode without plan, basically. But like, I just like when that old person is showing like the Alec to his old people friend, and like just the whole thing of like, this is from Freaklings. And then he has to explain what Freaklings is. It's
yeah,
from that
yeah.
side. And then the old people don't understand.
Yeah, the
It's
internet jokes in this episode are pretty great. There's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Like this is all like basic old people humor, you know, like old people not understanding words and stuff like that. And this is very tired jokes, but they'll deliver very funnily. To be honest, it's like very tired material, but it's done here incredibly well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess back in the day, those jokes weren't that tired because like the internet was still pretty much the new big thing.
Yeah,
So this was before we even called them boomers or anything.
yeah. This was like before the time that the old people actually did not know about the internet and were not just I don't know posting right wing memes on Facebook.
Yeah, this was the good times. um, but yeah, there's funny stuff in here. Also, like we're gonna get into like all the crimes committed in this episode because there's so many. Derek doesn't touch a corpse. That's like the only not crime in this. But he basically gives emergency call woman coupon cards that's like on a fake account with like fake numbers, and that's so like current day. Like I didn't even know they had like coupon codes back in like start of the 2000s online.
They probably like I don't know about Switzerland, but I imagine America like probably had them pretty early.
Yeah,
I imagine like with Europe it took a bit more to catch up like on that online stuff.
but yeah, the fake coupon code is a crime.
Yeah.
The paying a emergency woman for information is probably a crime. Then we have setting up surveillance in an old people's home without their permission. That's also a crime. And then we have breaking and entering. Unarmed breaking and entering, which they even mention is a crime that can get you like 10 years.
So maybe murder. I don't know if the whole what the skunk ape did was murder or no. Accident or murder, I guess.
Yeah, it was like he accidentally gave that golfer a heart attack.
Yeah. I love the whole coupon scene because Derek is just like, hey, can you commit the crime for me? You get the free coupon. It's using somebody else's like account, but it's a free. And the person in the nurse is like, okay, free coupon, free thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
This
it.
this episode really understands the free killings dynamic, I think.
Yeah, it takes like the Freaklings is always pretty silly, right? But it takes the whole dynamic of the crew of like, oh, Derek's a kind of shady guy, and just like puts that into comedic sense.
Yeah, there's
Like,
this funny scene at the start where Chloe is talking to the board meeting and it intercuts with Derek, who basically says the opposite of anything Chloe says about free killings.
yeah, it's like son Derek is like, hey, Chloe's trying to save her license as a psychiatrist, is trying to be respectful anything, and Derek's just here with the old people saying, yeah, I'm basically say they do the website.
Yeah, basically we're just making shit up sometimes, and we maybe pump it up a bit, and we don't really have the facts or anything. It's really funny.
We are just a bunch of person in our mid 20 with the website that investigates maybe supernatural things. I don't know.
Yeah, and then at the end, it basically does a turnaround, and Gil has to explain that they actually are very good at what they do, and that it helps people and all that.
I think what I like about this episode, about its comedies, everything just feels like it's, I don't know, it's well made. It's, I guess how I would describe it. Like everything, every scene has a point. Specifically in the comedy, there's like, I don't know if there's just a setup to the joke that always lands well. It
Yeah.
feels just very solidly made.
Also, the script doesn't drag. Like, it felt, rewatching it, it was like a very quick watch, it felt to me. Like, other episodes had me feel like the episode was really dragging because the plot was advancing so slow.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
here,
mean.
the stuff really happens all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say it's like well made. It's just like it just has a point, has a story idea, has jokes, and goes to them in like a pretty straightforward way, but in a way that's like you enjoy and like it doesn't drag anyway. And anyway,
Yeah,
it's pretty
maybe
fun.
the best pacing in this show.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable. You have another favorite joke or not like favorite moment in this?
It's gotta be either what was the account name for the fake coupon code? Coochie Seeker.
Yeah,
It's either Coochie Seeker or the line of Betty where she said, "There's a skunk ape and he's trying to get my underwear."
yeah. There's a Scottish skunk ape trying to get my underwear.
Oh, that's incredible line.
It's it's amazing. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, like the thought of a horny skunk ape is just a lot to take in.
Like I think a lot of this adds a lot of levity because in a way this episode has basically no stakes when we find out who the skunk ape is. It's just a horny old dude who's horny
Yeah,
for no lady. So the whole episode just relies on being itself a joke because there's no crime, there's no thing where there's a murder, I guess a death, but it's an accidental death.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of like it's not anti-humor, but it's anti-punchline. The punchline in the end is there's no conflict. It's
Yeah,
just
I
old
guess
people.
all the conflict in this episode turns out to be a red herring.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's like the last punchline of the thing is just this was just or nothing really.
yeah, except for like the main tension comes actually from the psychiatrist thing of the board meeting.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point. The actual main story is the thing that has no tension compared to the actual thing with Koi storyline. I guess we should go with that. How did you think this episode dealt with the whole thing from the Filipino vampire episode?
Yeah,
I think we should mention before that, like we mentioned last time, this is actually the canonical like episode after the Filipino vampire episode.
yeah, and before the episode we reviewed last time.
Yeah, we're just following wiki order because that's not how we watch the show, but that's just like the order that's in Wikipedia. And also, we decided that this was better to reserve before we are covering the last two episodes because this is like probably like the most comedic the show gets besides the ending.
Yeah, it's actually jarring to watch this after the last episode because they could
Filipino
be
vampire
no,
or
no, no. The one with the
the bikers?
reanimator.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because like they could be from different shows. These could be two different shows, like the reanimator episode and this one.
Yeah, like just not because I want to go to the glory stuff, but just to say, I think this is why I like this late part of Freaky Links because all of these episodes, even like the ones that are comedic, could be from different shows, but it all feels like Freaky Links. It's just Freaky Links at this point, at this late era, is just a horror show that feels unique, but also can do various things in various episodes that feel
Yeah,
like its own different thing, and that's kind of unique for like for a Fox TV show of this era, it feels unique in that regard.
it's weird to say this, but Freaky Links has range.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different things they do in this very short time.
Yeah, and like compare this with like even just the canonical last episode was just the Filipino vampire one. This is not just way better, it's way different in tone because that's like trying to be more dark and serious. This is
Yeah.
just a farce. It's a farce that the joke is there's no tension in anything.
Yeah, yeah. The tension gets built and built, and then it gets resolved in an extremely comedic way.
Yeah, but let's go. How do you think about Chloe's storyline on this?
I mean, it's like the only besides Derek's like brother plot, it's like the only storyline that happens through multiple episodes. No, there's also Jason's storyline with his family.
Yeah.
Like it's actually fucked. The only person, no, Lan's storyline in this season is her crush on Derek. So every character gets a storyline. They're just resolved mostly in like 2 episodes. Like every storyline gets 2 episodes, I think. Like Chloe gets the part where she almost loses her license, the Filipino vampire episode, and then she gets the episode where it gets resolved. And like Jason gets the episode where he gets the job offer from his family and he refuses it, and then he gets the episode where he goes help them. And Lan has the episode where she's like has a crush on Derek, and then she has the episode where she's like dating the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So there, that's a very weird structure for like character plot lines, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like it goes through the entire 12 episodes. It's everybody gets 2 episodes where their story gets told. So from that perspective, I found it interesting that they like build up Chloe's line storyline and immediately resolve it. Basically,
Yeah. I
it
think
almost flows better when you watch the official Wikipedia order, because there's like a bit of buffer between the part where the like conflict starts and where it gets resolved.
I just want to say again, like we said in the Filipino vampire episode, literally makes no sense. The
Oh
whole
yeah,
thing.
it makes no fucking sense because like she sees the vampire, she sees
Yeah,
the shadow vampire, she
yeah. It's
almost gets got by the shadow vampire.
it just feels like to build tension, just to build tension,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
there's a conflict. But I think it's well handled in this because it does feel like it plays into like Chloe's thing, like her difference between Derek or Jason or any other else in the crew.
Yeah, because she often gets to play the
I guess
Molly part or the scolded part. Wait,
is it Scully?
She gets to play the Scully part. Like she's the straight man.
Yeah, she's like the skeptic of the whole queue.
Yeah, so like it's an interesting dynamic to have her like have to like defend free killings basically to defend her own job. Like she has to basically find out how much this really means to her and how much she really belongs in that. And I think you could have done even more with that, like her struggling between those two sides, between like the hyper professional psychiatrist and free killings.
Yeah, like this episode, like vaguely like points to that. It's just the issue is just it vaguely. It's set up and then just quickly, just
it
quickly
gets
solved.
it gets resolved almost too neatly. There's like no
Yeah,
conflict left at the end.
like I think the end is satisfying it's satisfying the way that like they get like they get they get like the person who doesn't want the grandma in a home just to say, hey, Freakling's good, basically just a fable, and that's funny as a joke and as a satisfying and as an ending, but it's still very like too neatly ending as like an attempt at storytelling and character development.
Yeah, it feels very convenient, and the characters don't really change or learn. Like it's not that Chloe acts differently for the rest of the show, or that
Yeah, like
Derek like learns to not get her into trouble all the time.
Yeah, like the thing, it feels very much like it feels like the ending was made as an ending to this episode and not an ending to the storyline, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it also feels like they didn't know how long they could like do this show, so they basically resolved it because they didn't know if they get a second season.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the topics of this episode, like we have old people's homes and skunk apes.
So, do you want to go first at old people home or skunk ape?
I mean, I know multiple people who work at old people's home. That's basically my
Yeah.
knowledge base.
Yeah, I think we'll go with old people. Like, this episode's whole thing is it's set in like Florida in particular. It's it delves into like the whole thing of like Florida's like known for like having a lot of retirement communities and old people's homes and like how that's noticed but in like American mainstream media is like wacky old people. Here's where the golf goes. Here's where they're having a good life and golfing. Like the politics of retirement homes is always kind of fucked up when you understand that a lot of retirement homes in a lot of countries are like privatized and like there's a legitimate bullying amount of elder abuse, just nightmare stuff happening to old people. A lot of these institutions are also religious, which is another problem for like queer old people, also like racism and stuff like that. It's specifically in like Florida. Once like looking this up, like once you start looking up. Oh, a lot of these communities are also incredibly white, incredibly conservative, etc., etc. They're not wacky fun places for the old people.
I mean, it's absurd in so many ways for us non-Americans. I think because Florida is very hot and humid,
Yeah.
and like when you're old, you shouldn't be in that kind of climate. It's gonna kill you faster. Like the heat is not good for old people.
Well,
But Florida is like one of the hotter states on the like west coast, as far as I know, on the east coast.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, if we send them all to Florida, they're just gonna die faster. Is that the motivation? Is that what's happening? I don't understand.
From what I understand, a lot of old West people, that move to Florida, like they're alone. It's like, oh, this is a nice retirement place.
I'm confused by it. Also, the alligators, like you get chomped. You
Yeah,
can't
it's not.
run from them.
We're South people are weird. We know about this. But yeah,
Yeah.
like particularly like there's a lot of just safety stuff over a lot of like health care for like old people and how let's prioritize and waste people and everything. This episode's not really like it's not a scouting attack on that. It's more just the old community and old people thing is just part of the joke of it. They had equipped it and they saw Florida and they saw old people and they thought old people as a funny joke.
Yeah, it's like just mixing different Florida things and like making a comedic blend out of it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
almost astonishing there's no alligators in this one.
yeah. Like I say this is probably like one of the more low like the thing we talked about this Freaking has this weird thing if like it's technically so about like exploring different parts of America but it never feels really that local besides Desert Squid and this funny enough but with this you can tell this is like Florida retirement homes. This is like the media mainstream version of it but it still feels in a way like something that's not just weird small American town
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah. We don't get
California.
the Limp Bizkit vibes from Florida in this one. We get
Yeah,
more of like the um, Margaritaville vibes. Like it's more like just yeah. We don't even leave the retirement home for a large part of it. Like we don't see
yeah.
the rest of Florida. We just see this snapshot.
This very much also kind of reminds me of like the last episode. Funny enough, because I don't think this is like being critical. Like unlike that episode, it's not being critical. Like, but it's very much playing with the whole idea of like what's a media stereotype about Florida? Oh, retirement communities, and it's very much just using that for the plot of it.
Yeah, it also, now that I think about it, it's a very low budget episode.
Yeah, it's probably like why they asked to do the retirement home because you don't actually. You just need to find like a retirement home or like a place that seems like a retirement home, just filming it, and then just. We don't even see the skunk apes. Like, do you see like the skunk apes farm in this?
No, you see it like in a very abstracted sense, like when it's dark. But it's really just a guy in an ape costume. Like they use it well because like they shoot it in the dark and they have the flashlight like zooming around so you don't really see it. But there's the ape costume, and then there's a shot where Derek gets like slightly skunk apeified, like has a bit of makeup effects on his face
Yeah,
when
yeah,
he
yeah.
drinks the water.
Yeah, the skunk, the stinky water that turns you into the skunk ape.
Which I think is, it's actually a kind of cool idea to like explain the skunk ape. They tie it in with the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, it's a funny bit. You can also like just see it as like, hey, this is also they're kind of taking werewolves, but just
Yeah, I
it's just
actually thought like, is this a were skunk ape during the episode? But then I got reminded that it's not the moon or some other thing. It's just when you zip that juice, when you zip that sweet stink juice.
yeah. That's also like I guess that ties us into hey, here we have the fountain of youth because old people. It's
Yeah,
like
it's kind of neat.
yeah, it's like again, it uses like a pretty stereotypical image of Florida in a way that's just it ties it like the whole episode. Just feels like well done. It feels like there's a punchline to the joke. Like we have old people because for something of youth. We it's in Florida, so skunk ape.
Yeah. Also, Jason calls it the fountain of de-evolution
Wow, like
because
this
like
one.
it basically de-evolves you. So if you drank enough of that juice, would you just turn back into a fish?
Wow, wow,
Yeah,
makes you
because
think.
that's the logic that gets explained. It basically turns you back into a primate if you drink it.
Saying anything else about the like old people like retirement home aspect of this?
Not really. I think they capture certain aspects of retirement homes not too badly,
Yeah.
but it's also very much played up for comedic value.
Yeah, this is not a critique about how a lot of retirement homes are like just privatized things for weird old people that exclude like anyone who's not the weirdest like old person. This is not that. This is just using wacky old people as a joke, and it does it well.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
not.
fun.
It's also not like too offensive about it or anything. Like
Yeah,
the old people have agency and they get to do their stuff and so on.
yeah, like old people in media, not to go into a lot of that. Kind of a lot of the joke in old media you can find about old people can like be very patronizing. It's just, haha, we're old people. They cannot hear or think clearly. This
Yeah.
that this doesn't feel like that. It's not. It doesn't feel offensive at all. Like it just. It feels like even a bit like just true to the life about some old people interact and like it feels like okay, it's not offensive, it's not anything, it's like these people have character in life, like the whole like them not understanding what freaklings is not haha freak, it's a bit of haha old people cannot hear a thing, but at the same time it's like these are still characters, these are still people, even
Yeah,
if
and they
very
get
cartoonish.
the main characters, the old people, get a happy end. By the
Yeah, like the skunk ape is just a horny old dude that says, "Hey, can you be with me?" And the woman says, "Yeah, I can possibly do that. It's
y-
fun. It's sweet, honestly."
yeah. It's not like this ends on a sad note or with like just a joke. It's also like it resolves the conflict.
Yeah, and it's also kind of honestly different because a lot of this set of like it's a weird trope. A lot of this set of like if there's a show with an old person, there's a there used to be a whole rule of they have an episode where the old person meets like a person of their opposite gender because heteronormative stuff, and then that person would die. They would like fall in love, and that person would die of old age. And the
Yeah,
whole thing
yeah.
was like just a joke about, haha, old people, mortalities. The joke. The Simpsons did an episode like that. There's a bunch of media like that. That if have like they have like an old person cast member, they have an episode like that, and that's the joke.
Yeah, I think for like 2000, the way it basically explores love with all that old people like still have relationships and all that stuff. In that way, it's actually not too bad because like
Yeah,
a lot of media just ignores that like old people have maybe sex or like are interested in other old people.
and if it happens, it's just it's a joke. Or it's like, oh, they die in the end. Funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we talked about this enough. Time to go to the main course of the episode, the Fly the Skunk Ape.
Yes, a cryptid I didn't know. I think before I watched this show.
I think, I not remember this, but we watched this with somebody who's from Florida, and I think he mentioned the skunk ape and was like, "Oh, this is the skunk ape," and watched this episode together.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, so the thing with America, and this happens in most countries, but in America it happens because America is like a very like large place. Every state has like its own like weird local cryptid. There's of course the Jersey Devil, iconic. There's a Bigfoot. There's Mothman, all the classics. And this is
yeah,
basically, it's like a thing. Like it happens in like basically every country. Every country has like its own like regionalized version of like local of here's our cryptid has a scary thing. And Florida has the Florida skunk ape, who is basically Bigfoot, but also has the name implies it's a skunk.
yeah. It's just a very stinky swamp Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's like just Bigfoot, but he stinks a lot.
Yeah, it's just an unwashed Bigfoot from the
Which,
swamp.
which once you think about this Bigfoot, would probably smell bad only because, I don't know.
Yeah,
Bigfoot's
dude
not
doesn't
so.
look like he washes a lot.
Yeah, Bigfoot doesn't watch a lot.
Or maybe like there's a lot of rivers in America, so maybe the normal Bigfoot like washes himself in rivers, and the skunk ape washes himself in the swamp, so that's why he's like extra stinky.
The Wikipedia page for this also finally mentions that apparently the skunk ape is also a thing in like Georgia and like Alabama, in terms of like other states that have a skunk ape similar thing.
Okay.
So yeah, so the Florida skunk ape. From what resource I did, if anyone from Florida is listening to this podcast, can correct me about this. From what resource I did, from Wikipedia and looking around, it seems like with a lot of local myths, the skunk ape seems to like turn into like a local Florida thing. There's a theme park called Gatorland, and for social distancing, they had the skunk ape. Teaching people how to social distance. Very good.
Yeah, that's a funny goof.
There's also the skunk ape running marathon, where people do running. The team and also it's named after the skunk ape.
Yeah, I guess it got like adopted into tourism culture.
Yeah, like looking it up on the Wikipedia page, apparently a lot of Florida South and Florida businesses even use it as like COVID stuff.
Yeah, and like
My
I think even before COVID, just like as a tourism thing, like
yeah, like
selling
it's
skunk ape shirts or stuff like that.
like yeah, it's like if you have a weird thing as part of your local culture, you like go, hey tourists, buy your skunk ape. Hey, we have a skunk ape. Buy
Yeah,
our horse.
the squid, the desert squid episode kind of plays into that phenomenon of like cryptids becoming like a local marketing thing or tourism thing.
It's like there's several businesses in like rural America. I think mostly in Arizona, whose things like here's the alien dino, near little
Oh
dino.
right. They got all the
There's
alien stuff there with
there,
Area 52 and
there,
such.
the reason why I know about alien dinosaurs, there was an episode of Bones, the cop, so where the whole thing was making fun of that because they go to Arizona because there's a more than a dino and it's an alien themed dino and everybody in the model suspect list like an alien hunter. It's honestly like one of the few very good episodes of Bones.
I would say there needs to be more dino diners, but there's like enough as far as I know. Like
Have you
there's
seen?
even one in Fallout New Vegas, so I think there's
Yeah,
enough.
there's also the dinosaur McDonald's.
Oh, nice.
Okay, but also one of my why going to the desert type, one of my favorite things I found out is like with cryptids, there's always people trying to hunt them, and apparently last year there was a filmmaker in Florida who's trying to prove that the skunk ape is real.
Yeah, they haven't
Thank
given up. There's still people doing this. Even
no,
during
no.
the pandemic, if you think about it, like
Yeah, don't worry. Yes, you need to do something. You need to go in the Florida forest during a global pandemic and find the skunk ape.
they should be
Yeah.
scared that they accidentally give the skunk ape COVID and like kill it. So oh, we
Maybe
found the skunk ape, but like it was the last of its kind and it died because we gave it COVID.
can the skunk ape can cryptids get COVID?
I mean, certain animals can get COVID, so I think skunk apes can also get COVID.
But yeah, bless you, bless you, person trying to find the real skunk ape during the pandemic. We bless a hero, an icon. Thank you.
I
Get,
saw a
we're gonna
picture
find
of that guy. He looks kind of like the skunk ape.
what is the skunk ape?
Just very beardy and hairy.
That's just like a dude, though. That's just a dude.
Yeah, but if you don't wash yourself for a long time, then maybe you can like be the skunk ape
Well, have you
if you're a
heard
very
of
hairy dude.
have you heard of bikers?
Hmm.
Maybe bikers are the real skunk ape.
Yeah, maybe actually bikers are the skunk ape.
But yeah, apparently like those local things, the Wikipedia page even mentions of like people trying to hunt the skunk ape and saying, "Oh, we saw the skunk ape." But apparently, this is from the Wikipedia page. So a skeptic investigator guy was like, "No, this is just a black bear. You're just confusing a black bear for the skunk ape." Which I hope is a weird thing that happens because a black bear does not look like a cryptid at all.
I mean, if you take a picture from far enough, everything looks like a cryptid. Or if there's enough fog or enough darkness.
Yeah, like I guess sometimes listen, it's just in the night. You like randomly think you find the skunk ape, but it's just a bear.
Like the picture in that article you sent me of the guy who's trying to find the skunk ape in 2020. There's a picture in there, and it's literally just a black silhouette in the fog. Like
I'm,
it could be a guy in a suit, but it could even be just a guy.
I'm gonna actually send you. This is like one of the two so-called pics of the skunk ape from the Wikipedia page.
Oh, I know this picture so well.
So you know the skunk ape
No,
picture?
no, I know this picture because, like, when I was 6 or 7, I bought a magazine about cryptids, or my parents bought me a magazine that was about cryptids,
Yeah.
and it had this picture in it. And this is so obviously a prop from some kind of, it's like what it's called, like a nature park or something, where they have like those statues of like animals, you know.
Yeah.
This is so obvious. Like the fur looks so fucking fake, and like
It looks-
the eye effect is probably the most convincing thing about this. But I don't know how they did it. Like maybe they put something in the eyes, or they had something that made the photo effect make the eyes glow like it does like with dogs. But yeah, I know this picture very well, and it's
Uh,
very fake.
The Wikipedia page says that this pixel is a polarizing topic still in the cryptid community.
I mean, I bet there's people in the cryptid community who think this is legit, but like even the lighting, like is that even a flash camera?
It feels so fake. The lighting feels so fake.
Yeah, it's like overlit for like a photo that's supposedly taken at night. It looks more like this was taken in a studio or in a closed room than like in nature.
Yeah, and it's like as if it look in the picture looked like the skunk ape saw the person taking the picture, the person if there was a real skunk ape, that person was already probably dead.
Yeah, like why would it like see the flash of the picture and then just say, "Yeah, I think I'm going home now." This flash didn't like piss me off or anything. I'm just going now. Like because animals love flashing lights.
For us from the Wikipedia page also Swedish, the United States National Park Service considers the skunk ape to be a hoax. Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Rough. They at bars. They really they're convinced.
Wow, no hoax. Wow. But yeah, how do you feel about the skunk ape part of this?
I mean, I wish we would have seen more of it, but that's just in general with this show. Like, they don't have the greatest effect budget, so when there's like some creature or cryptid, it's often just shown very shortly and like in the shadow. So yeah, of course nowadays it would all be like weird CGI monstrosities, I guess.
Yeah, it feels pretty much like the Desert Squid episode that we got because it's all very subtle. Like it's all very like you don't often see very part of the skunk ape, you just see it's implied.
I guess Desert Squid really has the best effect work in the entire show, like with the tentacle arm. That's like the best looking effect in the entire show.
Yeah, it's like it's probably the best effects. I think I do like what they do with the skunk ape. It's like you don't see it a lot, but it feels like, oh yeah, the skunk ape is here. How do you feel the effect when Derek's turning into skunk ape?
That's very much like, I don't know. That's very much like it very much looks like the start of a werewolf transformation.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably looked at the transformation in like American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah, like even the original werewolf.
Yeah, and then they just applied the start of that transformation to Derek's face, like just the very beginning where like the fur starts appearing and the teeth starts transforming, and like it's not a bad effect. You just can tell that this is all they could do. They couldn't like let him turn into a full skunk ape, so they just did some face makeup.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's also kind of neat scene, but it's very quickly resolved. It's more just a quick gag.
Yeah, it's basically explaining how the water works.
Yeah, but overall I think the skunk ape, like it very much adds to the Florida feel of this. It's like very stereotypical Florida, so you have the skunk ape. And it's very funny because you think of it. It's even more in some moments like this scary creature, but at the end of the day, it's just an old retiree who's horny.
Yeah, it's a good red herring, and I just wish there was an alligator in this episode. That's all I want.
I like how the episode also goes to the absurdity of the skunk ape because everybody's like skunk ape. It's a ape that's a skunk.
Yeah. He has to explain it multiple times.
Yeah, it feels very much like playing with the absurdity of this is just a local cryptid that's just a skunk plus ape.
I think that makes it so close to the Desert Squid because it starts with a monster that's hilarious in concept. Like a Desert Squid is also pretty absurd.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's actually taken from like local culture.
Yeah, Desert Squid is wholly made up, and this one is actually a real hilarious cryptid.
this is like the this is like this is like the second or like on this is like the second or third time that they actually use a wheel thing because there's the Wendigo and like this is there anything else besides this in the
I
Wendigo?
think there is actually precedent for like people making the connection between the dinosaurs and the Native American ideas of like Thunderbirds or the Quetzalcoatl
Mm-hmm.
in South America.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
So
there is precedent of that in cryptid circles.
wait, are some mole people? Can't forget about mole
Oh
people.
right, they were also like existing myth.
And also the New York connection.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is some existing things.
Yeah, but it's like very few amount because it so feels like it's doing its own thing for the most part. It
Yeah.
doesn't really feel like that. This feels like the most like a mess. And this feels like the most. The freaking school is in a place in a state, a real place, and has to deal with a specific local threat, with a specific local thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the punchline of all these local things is just nothing. It's just old people.
Yeah. That's the twist.
Wow.
So
Do you anything else about the skunk ape or anything about this?
I think we skunked it all.
Yeah, this is yeah. I think
Why is there
fair.
no ska band called the Skank Apes or
Wow,
something?
that would be good.
Yeah, I gotta tell that to some like Florida ska musicians.
Yeah, to tweet that to cartoons.
Yeah, that's a good segue actually, since we can segue into the musical corner from that.
So musical corner to that. We talking about music.
Yes.
So yeah. First, so in the musical corner in this episode, we do it's three bands, three acts. I'll go over them very. Go over like the most quick, the most obscure one. So we can go to two more interesting things. First, there's Ramona Silva, who seems to be like a singer-songwriter person.
Yes.
Uh, I I put one of the songs here, and I cannot find anything about this person. We see made some songs. So it wasn't the soundtrack. And then what happened? It seems was I looked at her website and her last post is from 2018 and her Facebook is 2019 and I cannot find anything else.
Yes, we talked about this off recording, and my very morbid theory is that she just died. But of course, that's not the only possibility. Maybe she's just is done with being online, or she's just done with making music, and Ramona Silvers is just a pseudonym and not her real name.
Yeah. So yeah, we do not know a lot about this person. All I can say is her music seems fine. It's very like singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
yeah.
is her song the one that plays at the end, or
I
there's
think it.
one very comedic used song that plays during the Skunk Ape fight.
No. I think that's. We're gonna go to the second band. This is the Mopes, who are more interesting, more for the connections. So the Mopes were made by. So the Mopes were made by members of Squeezing Weasel and the Quailers, who Squeezing
Right.
Weasel were like one of the like, I guess big like early pop punk bands. They wrote like very like kind of super nice songs. Same with the Queers, or not like another like more in the hardcore punk band scene. Also incredibly problematic. Please do not listen to like music from the Queers. The first album literally has the Oslo in it.
Except
And
if you're really into that, but why are you
uh,
listening to us then?
listen, no, listen to like Blink 182 or something. If you want pop punk or like comedic punk, listen to anything else. But yeah, the mobs are particularly created by let me just look. they're particularly opposite of Dan Babin, who particularly is known for being a lead person, being the bass player in Squeezing Weasel, and also doing vocals a lot of times, and being like a medium like pop punk inspired bands like the Weeberdales, Methadones, etc. etc. Listening to this is like very like this is like very pop punk, like comedic punk music.
Yeah, I don't really remember the song that played, but I can imagine how it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a song from there also.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna give it a few seconds of my time.
But yeah, like I was saying, this is very like pop punkish sound from that era, kind of what it is.
Yeah, now listening to it, I recognize how much this just sounds like Green Day or something.
Yeah, this is 90s pop punk, Ludo. You got to listen to it. Listen to your favorite bands. Listen to some Squeezing Weasels. Listen to some Green Day. Listen to Dookie. Uh, Other classics.
Yeah.
Your Blink 182s, etc. etc. But yeah, it's very much that. It feels like barely. Like, this feels very much up for this episode. It's a very comedic episode, so it fits.
Are they still active?
No, this is like a bit. This is like one of those like supergroup projects that one album they make, then they die.
Ah,
This
yeah,
is
no.
this is like, you know how Buckethead has like a 50 supergroup bands he's a part of, but they are supergroups, so like they put out one album and then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ads go to the Swing with Bible, baby, with the most important band. Squirrel Nut Zippers, the icons.
I can't hear that name and not think it's sexual.
Is it not
And like,
sexual?
it's not sexual apparently, since they play that Bill Clinton's like, what was it?
Presidential regulation.
Yeah,
His second term.
because like I think it's a joke about squirrels and the nuts they gather, and like, what if it had a zipper though?
Wow.
But from when I first heard it, it was more like, wait, is this a joke about like genitals?
Yeah, so it's like, is this a senator's look?
Yeah, I guess that's for the band to answer.
So yeah, I was so let's talk about, because we've actually been talking about news that's going to detail about the 90s swing revival. 90s swing revival expert Luther will explain.
I was a child in the 90s. I don't remember. I was not involved with any swing revivals. I distance myself from any swing revival and electro swing.
But so yeah, in the 90s, particularly like in 90s America, there was like along this is most of the because the 90s had a lot of like like every era has nostalgia for certain types of music from all the eras. In the 90s particularly, there's like a big revival of like soul music, like very like jazz, stuff like that. So in particular, there was the swing revival that's reviving swing that was reviving like swing music, and like was a thing for like was a thing for like a minute in the 90s. I was not born there, but because I know everything I know about the 90s swing revival, in particular, it was like a lot of very commercial, like.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about stuff in history repeating itself, and the second time it's a farce. Yeah, that's swing revival.
Yeah, it's like swing was already kind of stealing culture from black people. And like the 90s swing revival was like most of these bands and people forming these bands were white.
Yeah.
And it was very like commercial, like goofy, wacky music.
I think it was very sanitized in contrast to a lot of the like more provocative music from the 90s. Like there's hip hop, and then there's nu metal, and then there's punk, And these are
Right.
all like these provocative music styles, and then there's like just very harmless swing revival.
And yeah, and like the thing is, even if you look at some of the other revival stuff, like those '90s, Latin revival stuff, that's has at least more layers than swing revival stuff. Like stuff after those stuff like New Jack Swing and stuff like that. That was like
Yeah.
fusing soul and hip hop. That had more of an interesting ass and history than the score Nazi pulse.
God, this name.
So I'm gonna be honest. I tried to list going back to some of these albums and they're garbage. This is they gave me big electro swing vibes of like this is white people taking like this is like white people taking like incredibly like black music and making it wacky.
Yeah.
They have a music video in one of their songs that's based on like 50s cartoons, like not like Felix the Cat and Betty Boop, and I was like, you do know that 50 cartoons were racist, right? You don't know what you're doing by doing 90s swing revival, sanitized black culture using imagery of 50 cartoons that were hyper racist. What the fuck?
Also,
What the
Betty Boop are like underage sex icon. Very good to throw back to that. Mm.
But yeah, I guess
Although the 90s really had a Betty Boop revival, now that I think about it. There
yeah.
really was a lot of merch with Betty Boop on it.
They still do a lot of moors. I don't know if it's a big thing in Switzerland, but like they sell Betty Boop moors in Portugal.
Yeah. I think you can find it here.
But yeah, so Score Nazipos, I guess you can call them like the masters of 90s swing revival. You have them, you have. I do not know any after 90s swing revival bands.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
remember any others as well. Like I just know it happened, but none of the music had like any lasting appeal, I think.
yeah, it's like it's very much like I think you know what song of theirs is used in this episode. Like you can at least recognize that. Yeah, this sounds vaguely like swing revival stuff. Like it fits for this episode, but it very much feels like yeah, this was very much still like early '90s, now early 2000s, where like we do not really have a 2000s culture.
They
So
probably
this
had
is
all these songs from the label or whoever gave them like the songs for the show, and they just had to fit this fucking swing song into some episode. And I think they just
as
saw, oh, this is the old people episode, so we could put the swing song here.
as I should mention, like this band in particular, like still going and like they do they're like a soundtrack band because they did a song for like the first Garfield live action movie. So like they're
Hell
still
yeah.
so they're still like just popping out stuff, just popping out to those. Like if you look at them, they're like if you look at their like soundtrack stuff, they're still doing soundtracks this year. One of
Nice.
their one of their songs was used in Lucifer, which is a bad cop show. They had a song. They had a song in the Sabina show from last year. There was a
This
band.
is the rare Freaklings band that's still going and that hasn't completely ruined their career.
They particularly the biggest song. There was one song of theirs that gets used a lot. That's Hell. That song was in Dead Like Me, the song by the Hannibal guy.
Yeah.
They also had a song in iconic cursed movie Monkey Bone, the classic.
Nice.
So yeah, this is like one of the biggest bands that we're covering here. They're still going. They put out an album last year. What's amazing. They still tour. Apparently some of their people used to play for Jesus and the Melisane for some reason. The
I love that
90s.
one of the biggest acts on this show is a band I have never heard of before.
Yeah, it's don't you love the 90s swing revival? Uh,
No.
the, well, yeah, they toured like their second, their first album they toured it with Neil Young, So that's another thing. So
Yeah, that's a big name.
icon of like a 90s swing revival, the Score Not Zippers. Do you
Dude,
have any? Yeah.
do we have any other artists?
No. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's other artists.
No.
Because I never want to talk about Squirrel Nut Zippers again.
No, I was gonna ask, do you have any more swing revival thoughts, Luna?
I just told you I never want to talk about it again. Never.
Well, you heard it here, Luna. That's not like the 90s swing revival.
I'm just gonna act like it never happened.
Well, you're not respecting the classics. We in this house. We only support the mambo revival with.
I'm a swing revival denier. Never happened. It's all made up.
Yeah, wow.
It's a psyop.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, we finished this. This was a very fun episode. One of my favorite episodes. Let's say this. This is one of my favorite episodes of this show. It's a lovely episode, and I'm looking forward to talking about the other two last episodes. Like always, you can find me on Twitter on Alessur of Water. Alessur of Water on Twitter. Alessur of Wa1 on Twitter. On YouTube as well, Alessur of Water. Ludovico?
Yeah. Don't seek me out, please. Let me be in peace.
Well. Okay. But yeah, thanks everybody for listening, guys, and bye.
Bye.
There's a skunk ape out there, and it's got a thing for my underwear.